Greetings. My name is Anne Marie Fuco and I am Superintendent for St. Michael Albertville Public Schools. During this video, I will discuss one topic, the district's 2020 legislative platform. This is a very important topic based on a school funding formula that is extremely complicated, archaic, and quite frankly, unfair to STMA students, staff, families, and taxpayers. First, for background, I served on the Schools for Equity in Education, SEE, Legislative Committee and chaired the Minnesota Association of School Administrators, MASA Legislative Committee. Serving on these committees allowed me to influence the SEE and MASA legislative platforms, which allows STMA's voice to be heard. STMA's platform is aligned with these two organizations. It is also in sync with the Minnesota School Board Association's legislative platform. There is strength in numbers, and working with professional organizations and other districts similar to STMA allows us to share our story with a wider audience beyond STMA's boundaries. The STMA 2020 legislative platform focuses on three areas important to STMA students and staff: adequacy in funding, equity in funding, and common sense local control. In the area of adequacy, we are asking legislators to increase the basic formula by an additional 1%. While the state gave districts a 2% increase to the basic formula each year of this biennium, the increases do not cover predicted inflationary increases. In fact, if the legislator had provided inflationary increases to the basic formula, school districts would receive an additional $1,367 per pupil. For STMA, that means an additional $8.9 million. This loss of buying power limits educational opportunities for students. Second, we are asking legislators to take the one-time Safe Schools aid and make it permanent. Last year, legislators gave schools one-time dollars for school safety. This generated just over $218,000 for STMA. We are very grateful for these dollars. STMA works hard to keep students and staff safe, but inconsistency in funding, such as one-time funding, has limited our ability to proactively address students' mental health needs. Ongoing funding is required to hire and maintain additional trained professionals. Also, in the adequacy category, we would like legislators to increase the state share of special education funding. I want to be clear that this is not about students who receive special education services. This is about the state not providing adequate funding to meet the needs of our students. Did you know that in the fiscal year 2019, STMA diverted $4.4 million or $674 per pupil of funding meant for general education classroom instruction to cover mandated but unreimbursed special education programming? The $4.4 million that we must use from our general fund to pay for special education mandates substantially limits opportunities for all STMA students. Can you imagine the opportunities we could offer our students if we had an additional $4.4 million per year? In the category of equity, the cost for school levies falls heavily on homeowners in low property wealth districts such as STMA. This reduces the amount of revenue local taxpayers can provide in support of STMA schools. The quality of a student's education should not depend merely on their zip code. Therefore, we are advocating for an increase in equalization aid for school operating levies in low property wealth school districts to make them more affordable for taxpayers. Operating levies are equalized, meaning the levy also generates state aid. State legislation defines the equalization ratio, which is how much is levy and how much is state aid. Through increased equalization, the inequitable property tax burden and the growing educational opportunity gaps can be reduced. In fact, for a $2,443 per pupil levy, since STMA is property poor, our taxpayers would pay $690 per year, while taxpayers in a neighboring property wealthy district would pay just $162 per year. Also, in the equity category, we are fond of comparing ourselves to Lake Conference school districts. Did you know that the ranking for the least amount in per pupil revenue of Metro Lake Conference districts is Minnetonka. They are ranked number 128 out of 330 in per pupil revenue. STMA is ranked number 329 out of 330. That means Minnetonka at number 128 receives $11,531 in per pupil revenue, while STMA, number 329, receives $8,902 in per pupil revenue. Let me repeat that. Minnetonka receives $11,531 per pupil, while STMA receives just $8,902 per pupil. That is $2,629 more per pupil. The Minnetonka School District receives over $17 million more per year than STMA. How can that be? Wait, it gets worse. Minnetonka receives the least in per pupil revenue of the Metro Lake Conference districts. Wayzata is ranked 91 and receives $11,974. Edina is ranked number 88 and receives $12,047. Eden Prairie is ranked number 76 and receives $12,254. And Hopkins is ranked number 44 and receives $13,096. Yes, folks, the Hopkins School District receives $4,194 more per pupil than STMA. That's a difference of over $27 million per year. In the last category of the platform, we focus on common sense and local control. Policies that divert resources of time or money is an equity issue for the lowest funded school districts, such as STMA. As each district is unique, each school board should have the local control to manage limited resources to provide the best possible education for all students. To that end, we would like legislators to refrain from new, underfunded, or unfunded legislative mandates. There is also a number of policy considerations we would like addressed in this area, such as reducing special education paperwork. The 2020 legislative platform can be found on the STMA website on the legislative page. I urge you to familiarize yourself with the platform as the issues affect all students at STMA. Please join me in advocating for our students. The quality of our students' education should not be dependent on their zip code. You can help by contacting legislators or visiting them in person and asking them to support STMA students. Be sure to include a personal story, how additional mental health supports, such as counselors or social workers, would help our students, how expanded opportunities in the arts, world language, or advanced coursework would benefit our students, or how more electives would help our students. Contact information for legislators as well as other tips can be found on the STMA legislative webpage. There's also a couple of brief videos on the district website if you want to learn more about school funding and why STMA is almost dead last in revenue. Thanks in advance for your advocacy and support. In closing, I want you to know that I am here to serve students, staff, families, and the community. If you have feedback or questions, please call, email, or schedule an in-person meeting with me or other STMA staff. I value open communication and a culture of transparency and accountability. Thank you for your continued support of STMA schools.